Fazioli Pianos has been producing grand and concert grand pianos since 1981, when the company was established by the engineer and pianist Paolo Fazioli. His love for music, scientific expertise, skill as an artisan, and his passion for research, combined with rigorous material selection, make every Fazioli piano a masterpiece that combines unique functional, aesthetic, and sound characteristics. The Val di Fiemme is situated in the heart of the western Italian Alps. In the 1800s, the celebrated violin maker Antonio Stradivari used the wood from this red spruce forest for his violins. The same red spruce is used today to construct the soundboards for Fazioli pianos. Only a small part of this fine wood is suitable for the construction of the soundboard, the real heart of the piano. Indeed, the construction of the soundboard requires highly elastic and strong wood, with low specific density and absolute regularity of the grain. The first phase in constructing a piano begins by forming the rim, which is made in two layers, internal and external. The internal rim, which is lower, is made by stacking together 5 mm thick lengths of solid maple, which is then bent around special molds to form its characteristic shape. Given the obvious difficulty in curving a material like wood, this is a very delicate phase in the production process. The same applies when forming the external rim, which is higher than the internal one and glued around the latter. At the Fazioli factory, rims are still shaped in the time-honored method which leaves the wood in the clamps for days in order to adapt to its new shape. This method allows the glue to dry naturally rather than artificially assisting the process. In this way, the natural tendencies of the wood are respected, and it creates a condition that will ensure the stability and longevity of the piano for years to come. The rims are then left to rest for a period of not less than 6 months before further assembly can commence. The load-bearing frame of the piano is attached to the internal rim. A front crosspiece is applied and a metal joint fitted. The reinforcing bars are then fitted into the joint and connect to various points on the rim. The bars are made of 3 lengths of spruce, which are glued together in a way to guarantee maximum stability. The connection between the bars and the rim is achieved by using dovetail joints that are sealed with spruce dowels. Precision when creating the joints and attaching the bars to the rim, using the utmost care and attention, ensures that the structure has resistance and solidity. The soundboard is made by laying several lengths of red spruce, cut from the trunk using the quarter sawn method, side by side, and gluing them together. After passing a rigorous selection process, the 1 centimeter thick lengths, which are between 8 and 12 centimeters wide, are chosen by the highly specialized Fazioli technicians. Before being glued together, the lengths are planed by hand to ensure that they fit together seamlessly. The gluing takes place using the time-honored manual clamping system, which is still considered the best way of obtaining precise results. After gluing, the board is shaped and the excess wood is removed. Both sides are then leveled and polished using a special calibrating machine to ensure they are perfectly parallel. Finally, the board is left to rest for at least 3 years in a climate-controlled room, which rigorously maintains the ideal conditions of humidity and temperature. Before moving on to the next phases in the production process, the soundboard is planed down further at the edges in order to increase its mobility. The process of planing down the board is a very delicate operation that needs to consider numerous parameters and variables. How the board will react to the different frequencies of sound depends largely on the result of this process. For this reason, the Fazioli technicians use a special numerically controlled machine, which is able to ensure precision to 1/10 of a millimeter. The soundboard is now a very flexible membrane. In order to reinforce the soundboard, small cross pieces, known as ribs, which are also made of red spruce, are attached perpendicularly to the grain. They are glued on using a special pneumatic press, which has been designed specifically to ensure perfect adhesion between the ribs, the board, and the mould. Both before and after gluing, the artisans make sure that the curvature of the board is accurately measured along each rib, in order to ensure that the rigorous parameters set out in the design have been achieved. After gluing to the board, the ends of the ribs are planed down to a specific profile, which gives the board better and more controlled elasticity, resulting in better acoustic efficiency. The two bridges are glued onto the board simultaneously using another special press. By compressing them on a purpose-made mould, the board obtains its double curvature. At the end of this process, the board looks slightly convex, similar to the surface of a spherical cap with a wide radius. After an initial sanding, a final finish is applied to protect it from humidity at its final destination. Special finishes are used to provide maximum waterproofing with minimum dry residue, as this has a negative impact on the acoustic characteristics. Once the finish has been applied, the soundboard is glued to the internal rim, thus passing the life from the board into the casework of the piano. The case is seasoned in a climate-controlled room for a period of not less than 4 months. The iron frame of a Fazioli piano is produced by the traditional sand casting method. This method must be carried out by highly skilled and experienced artisans. This type of casting delivers acoustically superior results compared with the modern automated systems. The pin block is the part into which the steel tuning pins are inserted. The stability and strength of the pin block is fundamentally important for the stability of the tuning. For the smaller models, the pin block is made of 21 layers of beechwood glued together at extremely high pressure using phenolic glue. For the larger models, the pin block is made from 7 layers of hard maple, glued with the grains opposing each other, again using phenolic glue at high pressure. The pin block must fit perfectly into its housing, which is positioned below the front crosspiece of the iron frame. This is a very delicate operation, carried out manually by expert technicians to ensure the utmost precision. Matching the iron frame to the case is a fundamental and particularly delicate procedure. It has to take into account any minute variations caused by the cooling of the cast iron frame. Therefore, each case has to be made to measure for its own frame. This operation defines the exact position of the frame above the soundboard and also determines the height of the bridges in order to guarantee the correct string tension in the future. When this phase has been finished, the two parts go their separate ways, only to meet again when the strings are attached. The bridges are made of thin strips of maple wood and mahogany glued together. The top of the bridge is laminated using woods with different qualities and increasing hardness, proportionate to the frequency of the strings. Maple is the wood of preference for the bass and the center areas, hornbeam for the treble, and boxwood for the high treble. The notch at the top of the bridges is entrusted to the masterly ability of the most expert craftsman. Having been seasoned for some months in a special temperature and humidity controlled room, the case is glued to the external rim and then put into storage, before moving on to the next and final phases in the construction. The frame is matched to the piano it is destined for, prior to being inserted permanently for the strings to be attached. It is then drilled so that the holes for the tuning pins match exactly the position of the pin block. Once carefully smoothed and fine sanded, a gold lacquer is applied. Finally, in preparation for stringing, the hitch pins and agraffes are mounted. The length and thickness of the strings directly affects the overall quality of the sound and, above all, its ability to fit seamlessly into the tonal range of the piano as a whole. To achieve this, Fazioli uses software that has been specially developed to optimize the working parameters of the strings in relation to the length of the instrument. The bass strings are made by winding a copper thread around the steel heart of the string. With the help of a specially designed machine, the weaving or attaching of the strings takes place. The machine first drills the pin block before inserting the tuning pins to which the strings will be attached. The machine slowly inserts the tuning pin into the pin block. This is done with great pressure and precision in order to ensure the holes remain perfectly round. The back portion of the string, known as the resonator, is isolated from the part of the string hit directly by the hammer. The resonator vibrates in sympathy to the note struck. This is called the duplex scale. In Fazioli pianos, the duplex scale is completely adjustable because of a system that enables the length of the resonator to be modified. This system enables the resonator to be tuned to the finest detail. The action of a piano is made up of thousands of parts, each of which contributes to turning the movement of the pianist's fingers into sound. Three main parts form this complex and delicate mechanism: the action, the keyboard, and the hammers. Our actions are made to our own Fazioli specifications by the most reputable specialists in the field. The wooden heart of the hammers is made from walnut, a wood that has excellent characteristics in terms of stress and impact resistance over time. The finest quality of felt is selected for the hammers in order to obtain the maximum strength and elasticity. The hammer shanks, onto which the hammer heads are attached, are made from hornbeam, which is known for its strength and flexibility. The keyboard, which is also made to a specific Fazioli design, is seated on an oak frame. The spruce keys are checked and individually prepared to fit perfectly to the oak frame. The action is then positioned on top of the keys, and thousands of fine adjustments are patiently made by the Fazioli technicians to ensure that the pianist's intentions are transferred through the complex mechanism of levers to the hammer and finally the strings with incredible accuracy. The Fazioli technicians precisely check and recheck the position of the action to ensure that the hammers hit the string at the optimum percussion point. When this position has been found, the stop blocks are attached, securing the action in place. Once the position of the action is precisely defined, the side notches and finishing of the casework can be completed. The high-gloss finish of the piano is achieved by spraying a film of polyester onto the case. The polyester used has been especially manufactured for Fazioli. It is applied in a purpose-built pressurized cabin, which is equipped with state-of-the-art filtering systems. The finish is applied in several phases, alternating single coats with resting periods and sanding. The method and time involved for this is very important indeed, as it guarantees the highest aesthetic quality and resistance. The sanding of the finished parts is almost entirely done by hand, as only the sensitivity of the human hand ensures perfection is achieved on each part of the piano. The only exception is the lid, where the large surface areas are polished by an automated machine which guarantees a perfectly flat surface. The finished and sanded parts are then polished. Only the first stage of polishing uses machines. The final finish is achieved by hand. The dampers, made of wood and felt, prevent the string from vibrating when the key is not in use. The assembly, positioning and adjusting of the dampers requires particularly fine attention and precision. The dampers have 3 different sections, each with a different shaped felt to match the tri, bi and monochord pattern of the strings. Weighing off the keyboard standardizes the resistance the pianist feels across the keyboard when he presses the keys. This is achieved by inserting small lead weights into the side of each key. They range from a maximum of 52 grams in the bass keys to a minimum of 48 grams in treble keys. By inserting the weights, one compensates for the weight of the hammers, which are heavier in the bass than in the treble. By using sample weights, the technician determines, key by key, the weight and the position required for each lead weight to be inserted into the side of the key. The timbre of the piano is determined by the density of the felt on the hammer head. The technique used to vary the density of the hammer felt is called voicing. A special tool with 3 needles that prick and penetrate the surface of the hammer is used to voice the piano. This, the final stage, is carried out after all of the regulating and tuning is completed. It is of fundamental importance to achieve the finest sound and requires great sensitivity and patience from the master technician.